Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. I'm Sean Duhamel. Thank you so much for joining us again. Today's Friday, June 11th, and this is our July edition of The Voice. It's our bi-monthly newsletter. Why I'm holding it up is not only has it gone to the printer, but it's actually been mailed. So some of you, by the time you're seeing this, you may actually receive the newsletter in the mail today, or certainly over the next few days. Once again, I know I'm biased, but we put together a fantastic package for our members. It's full of very important information about your retirement, about the issues that you care about as a public retiree, and we also have some really good news to report. Right on the front page, top of the headline, strong local investment returns. Our 102 local retirement systems across Massachusetts over the past several years have just done an absolutely fantastic job of looking after your retirement assets, investing those assets, and most importantly, growing those assets and making sure that they're safe and secure and that they're going to do everything that they need to do to support you in your retirement. So this is a bit of a teaser article. We're going to have further details when they become available in our September newsletter. Is going to list all 102 local retirement systems, what they've earned, what their funded ratio is, and really give you an accurate picture of what's going on with your money, because at the end of the day, this is your money. You paid into the retirement system your entire career. Massachusetts at this point in time has some of the highest pension contribution rates of anywhere in the country. So it's your money. You earned this retirement, you deserve this retirement, and most importantly, you deserve to have the peace of mind that comes along with the work and the commitment that goes into our public pension systems here in Massachusetts. So we want to give credit where it's due, and we also want to share good news. The second story here is talking about the national WEP reform drive that's underway, about our petition drive, about the number of organizations around the country that we're working with, giving you an update. You know, the most recent information that we have on all of this is contained in the newsletter. There's also a map of the United States in here that's going to show you a bunch of little dots all over the United States. And those are all the locations where public retirees over the past several weeks have taken the time to sign our national petition drive. And it's a petition drive that we launched along with the Public Retirees Alliance that we belong to. And at this point in time, nearly 7,000 public retirees have signed the petition, and we're well on our way to being able to engage with those folks and get them to contact their local member of Congress, just like you have been doing all along. But before I get into a little bit more about what's in this newsletter, let me report on some really good news that took place just yesterday. As we have been reporting, and this is going to be very important to a number of our members who have returned to public sector work here in Massachusetts over the past couple of years, and most recently during the pandemic. Since March of 2020, a waiver has existed here in Massachusetts whereby the normal rules surrounding retirees returning to part-time public service, those rules have been waived for the time being, meaning that there's no longer an hourly restriction and there's no longer a restriction on the amount of money that a retiree can make working in a public job. That waiver is temporary, and it was created to allow the public workforce to be able to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. And as we've been reporting, we have a countless number of public retirees who have returned to the public workforce full-time in response to the pandemic, working with local boards of health, the state unemployment office, the Department of Employment and Training. The list goes on, working with local police and fire departments to supplement their workforce as folks have been engaged with various aspects of responding to COVID-19, or earlier on in the pandemic when people were calling in sick because they actually came down with COVID. That's been a problem as well. But public retirees have answered the call. They've been performing these duties, and they have played a key role, an essential role, in helping Massachusetts respond and emerge from this pandemic in pretty good shape. Well, the waiver is set to expire this coming Tuesday on June 15th, along with the expiration of the governor's emergency order here in Massachusetts. Well, just because the emergency order is going away that doesn't mean that the need for these jobs and these services that are being performed suddenly just disappear and go away. It's not like a magic wand suddenly appears on June 15th and everything's normal again. Wouldn't that be great? But that's not the case. So what we have done is proposed an extension of the waiver through the end of this year to allow for a transition period, allow for a cleaner accounting by the retirees and the employers and the retirement systems that are all involved in this process. And we're very happy to report that just yesterday, the state Senate took up a COVID-19 relief bill, and the third amendment that they heard was the amendment that Senator Mike Brady filed on our behalf, extending the waiver through into December. The date that the Senate has chosen is December 15th. The reason for that is that many, if not most, of the other provisions related to COVID are also expiring on December 15th, so they wanted to keep the date consistent. That being said, if you are someone who's working, even though the rules will once again apply on December 15th, there's only then 15 days left in the month. So we're not going to run into any situation where anyone's going to work more than 960 hours over a 2-week period or earn more than you're allowed to earn during a 2-week period. That's just not going to be the case. So for all intents and purposes, this runs through the end of the year. But just keep in mind that if we are successful and the House is taking this up in early next week, in a couple of days, that the full rules will likely apply for 2022 and going beyond. In addition, I want to give a quick update of where things are in terms of the WEP. As I mentioned, we have a lot of information in here in terms of the WEP and a full report on all the groups that are working with us to try to get this done on your behalf and on behalf of their members. The one thing I want to update you on, and I'm really excited by this, just this past Saturday, I received an email from the president of the California Retired County Employees Association. They represent 180,000 retired California county workers. The majority of those 180,000 members, just like our own members, worked outside of Social Security, and they're harmed by the WEP the same way all of you are. Well, they want to work with us. They agree that Congressman Neal's bill, H.R. 2337, is the most viable piece of legislation that we have to get over the finish line, to get to President Biden, and finally provide relief for all of you and for future retirees. So we are working together along with a vast variety of other organizations around the country. But the fact that the president of that association took the time on a weekend to reach out to me to say that they appreciated everything that we're doing and everything that you're doing directly, and that they want to work with us, it really made my day, and I wanted to share that. And we're up to now, I think, 53 organizations across the country, 160 congressional co-sponsors, trying to get this legislation passed this year. And we'll be providing more information in the coming weeks as Congress is coming back together and before they take their summer recess, and we'll be able to let you know our best estimates of where things are at. Now, finally, back to the newsletter. The newsletter is full of all kinds of great information for you as a public retiree. Beyond the big issues that we're talking about on the front page, we have information in here about the origins of the cost of living increase and a fantastic series of articles written by our former president and Mass Retirees founder, Ralph White, who talks about the reasons why he began this association in the first place back in 1968 and what was driving that decision back then. He also talks about the origins of the cost of living increase and what the association went through back in the early 1970s to really modernize and begin the COLA law as it now stands. And it just gives some really interesting perspective of why things are the way they are and why Mass Retirees exists. And it exists for the simple reason to make sure that you have a voice, that you're not forgotten in your retirement, and that you have a secure, stable, enjoyable retirement that you've earned. Beyond that, we also talk about the Medicare buy-in program, both at the local level and the work that's being done at the state level to assist those retirees who are not eligible for Medicare on your own, but to allow you to buy into the program, or the state or the cities and towns to buy into the program. So it's full of great information. After reading this, if you have any questions or comments, reach out. We're always happy to talk to you. We also have a full listing of all of our pieces of legislation in here. Our entire legislative package, all of the bill numbers, the titles, a little summary, the bill sponsors. It's all in here. All of our bills are now before various legislative committees. The Joint Committee on Public Service held its first hearing relative to any of our bills just a couple of days ago. That legislation we'll be reporting on in future weeks. But it was the COLA, it was life insurance, survivor benefits, a bunch of different things were all heard at the same time. So thank you, Chairman Gordon and Chairman Brady, for the quick public hearing on 6 of our bills. We really appreciate that. But for now, I think I've given you plenty to chew on for today. I hope you're enjoying this beautiful weather. I know it's pretty hot up here in Boston already. The air conditioning in this office isn't working great. And I just want to leave you with one final tidbit for those of you who have watched all the way through. In recording this today, I realized that exactly a year ago when I made this video, I was wearing this same shirt. So this must be my lucky shirt for early June, or maybe it's just a summer shirt, but whatever it is, it's just kind of a coincidence that a year later, same day of recording, I'm wearing the same outfit. So with that, thank you for your continued support of our association. We'll be back to you again next week. Bye-bye.